What do I do for my PhD? Can I have a think? I work with Rolls-Royce, working on aircraft engines, the materials within aircraft engines. I try to understand how those materials perform under different stresses, temperatures, and compositions. If Ming of 4 years ago was to meet Ming of today, I'm a very different person to what I was 4 years ago. In terms of the last 4 years of developing myself, half has come from the PhD and in the lab, and half of it has come from outside. I think running's always been a part of me. A lot of the guys in track are they're all undergrads. I think when you interact on a daily basis, you don't feel that. You're just interacting with someone who also runs. Being able to unwind in a college environment where you can interact with people who don't necessarily do your subject, which I would highly encourage anyone to do a PhD, who does a PhD, to kind of find opportunities like that and don't just confine yourself to the lab, especially if it's like a 3 to 4 year journey, which is very arduous and very lonely. I'm not defined by the PhD. I'd like to think I don't want to be defined by the PhD, and I'm so much more than that. Have I had any low points? Not really. I think coming in, I'd pitch myself at like a 5 or 6 out of 10 in terms of mood, where like 10 is euphoric and 0 is like I want to kill myself. And I've never probably deviated from that. Probably lowest is probably 4 and highest is probably 7. Whenever you do a PhD, you're delving into the unknown, right? And so no one really knows what the unknown is going to deliver. People really struggle when they come in and they think that, especially at good institutions, they think, oh, I'm going to come in and save the world, you know, I'm going to like win a Nobel Prize. And they come in pitching at like this 10 out of 10, oh my gosh, like it's going to be amazing, you know? And in truth, that is, maybe like 0.1% of PhD students globally have that opportunity or that feeling, and the rest of us don't have that, you know? My life is like a constant 6 out of 10 plus or minus a standard deviation of like 0.5, you know? So I don't have any regrets about what I've done whatsoever. But then at the same time, like, I'm fully aware that after I'm done here, I don't really want to pursue a career in academia. And academia as a profession is really competitive. I think people are willing to shoot each other down to climb ahead of other people. It's all run by impact factors, it's all run by numbers. It's all a numbers game, academia, you know? How many papers have you published? What's your impact factor of your journals that you've published in? Whether you're first or second or third or fourth, what author are you? Academia is a game, and there are guys who can play the game really well. I don't play the game very well. People go into research thinking that they are doing this moral deed of, oh, I'm not going to go and work in an investment bank, or I'm not going to go work in a consulting company because I'm doing the moral good and like contributing to the body of knowledge. Whereas in truth, that's going to be bullshit, because when you enter the academic world, people are very much like, their claws are very much out and they're out to get you. I'd rather go and work for an investment bank and just outright say to some guy, okay, I'm just going to take all your money. There is this idea that if you're publishing in Nature or you're publishing in Science, like you are like a demigod of the research world. But actually, I don't believe that's necessarily true. I think that if you publish in Nature or you publish in Science, you're just doing something which is really really hip at that time. Graphene's like the most overhyped piece of shit ever, to be honest. There's so much hype surrounding it for like something which is delivered cool to this day. It's really surprising that something like that got a Nobel Prize, because often you have to wait for the repercussions of that research to bear fruit. Yes, it's really cool, and there's a lot of potential, I don't doubt that. Bill Gates, hasn't he like patented graphene condoms or something like that? So far, very little's been delivered. There's still so much more investment, both time and academically, which needs to be done in order to bring these ideas to people like us who are going to use them on a daily basis. I think it's really difficult to deal with these problems, because, you know, these people who are like reviewing Nature, they very much are doing it also for themselves, for their own academic benefits. White men in ivory towers, like once they control the ivory towers, like they're very happy continuing the way they are because it's good for them. You think about Cambridge in general, how little changes on a daily basis, and they always blame this idea that, oh, it's been done that way for 800 years, so why should we change it? I think it's a similar thing with academia. Like, they found a system which works for them, so why would they change it? we're the same headless chickens that we were maybe 10 years ago. You just pretend that you know what you're doing. That's the key. You just got to pretend that you know.